For 2 days her phone lay like a stone on the kitchen table. Dark, mute, a small rectangle that had once been the loudest thing in our house. She called it me time. A weekend to herself, she said, to clear her head, catch up with a friend, breathe. I wanted to believe the generous story, because it was easier than inventing the cruel ones. So I made coffee for one, turned down the noise on the television, and practiced the polite boredom of a man who trusts. The first night passed with the usual hum of loneliness, the kind that settles into the jaw and makes even ordinary tasks feel ceremonial. I told myself people need space. I told myself things I wanted to be true. On Sunday afternoon, curiosity turned into a small, sharp insistence. Her silence had weight. The smallest details began to bristle under my skin. A lipstick-stained napkin folded in the trash, the faint smell of perfume in the bathroom where she'd only washed once before leaving, the back of her blouse still warm when I picked it up from the chair. None of it proved anything, but the mind is a craftsman. Give it a sliver and it will build a cathedral of suspicion. I did the cautious thing. I let it ache. I drank another coffee. I paced our garden until the sky paled. When her call finally came late Sunday, her voice was soft with the practiced cheer of someone who'd been rehearsing the part for days. Everything's fine, she sang into the receiver. I'll be back tomorrow. I believed the tone and disbelieved the facts. Monday morning, the house refused to be patient. Bills lay stacked on the counter, and with them a letter embossed with our bank's logo. My name was printed on the envelope, and my heart hit a tempo it had learned to dread. Inside the envelope were 2 hotel receipts, identical in format. Same chain, same weekend dates, same room type. My name, and below it, a card ending in the last 4 digits of my credit card. The math was precise, ordinary, murderous. Room charge to my name. I read it 3 times, each reading softening nothing. The first reaction was disbelief, the second a practiced rationalization. The third was a cold, clinical observation. Someone had used my card. The longer I held the paper, the more the house seemed to contract around that fact. I did not confront her in the way people in bad novels throw crockery and shout accusations in doorways. I considered those scenes bracing, spectacular, and then discarded them for something slower, because I wanted truth, not spectacle. I called the hotel. A polite woman on the other end confirmed the charges, the dates, and that the reservation had been made under my name with an accompanying authorization number. She read the authorization like a hymn to mundanity. The swipe had been processed. The stay had been logged. The voice on the phone offered help in the corporate way of people who have seen too many human dramas to be surprised by any particular stratagem. We can provide a copy of the authorization and a signature, she said. That was a dangerous sentence. Paper wanted an author. I could have checked my online statements, but my stomach wanted to move with deliberate slowness. I pictured her in some anonymous lobby, laughing, leaving behind the neatly folded receipts that would later arrive at our address. When she walked through the front door late that evening, smiling, suitcase in tow, the light in her eyes steady as if she'd been to a museum and not the kind of place that changes people's addresses, my throat tightened into behaviors that read as ordinary to anyone watching. I asked about the weekend. She listed names and places like a woman reading from a practice script. Just me, she said, the syllables soft and plain. The suitcase contained bras and dresses. Nothing cinematic, nothing to betray the story I already had. I kept the receipts in my pocket like a scalpel, small enough to hide, sharp enough to make an incision. Later, when she slept, I called the card company and asked for the authorization details. The representative was helpful, crisp, and legally neutral. There it was, an authorization given in person at a different branch of our city, a signature that, when photocopied and blown up, made the letters clumsy and familiar. The loops of the hand that signed it were a voice I had learned to read over years. The sway of how she dotted her I's, the slanted tail of her Y that always leaned toward the left. I checked the signature twice, hardly trusting the betrayal of my own eyes. People tell you the small things you recognize in the hands of those you love, and in the blank economy of a signature, I found the ledger of truth. What followed was a quiet arithmetic of decisions. I did not call friends to bear witness. There was no need to prove it to anyone else. The receipts and the authorizations sat on the kitchen table like a verdict waiting for the judge to doze. I watched her at the sink, at the stove, at the mirror. Mundane rituals that once stitched us together and kept my face a careful mask. The strain of pretending to be ordinary while reordering your life is tiring. It is a work of craft. I moved through it with the patience of someone cataloging an evidence room.